Alright, Kingdom of Thalim, Part 2. I thought I was just pausing it and I hit the wrong button. And I could not reverse that action. There are some things we simply can't take back, no matter how hard or how bad we want to. Alright, I want to talk about Aquarius and Thalim the way I see it. He's in his mid-30s. He's Native American. He's got long black hair. Native American men do not grow mustaches and beards, nor do they have hair on their chest. So he's clean shaven. There's a lot about that in the Jupiterian thing, and you'll notice most of the popes and everything, they shave to imitate that. In the sign of Aquarius, they're all lucky stars, and they're the lucky stars of tents. What Thalim would call a TP. I kept seeing 3 TPs. There are 3 TP stars in the constellation of Aquarius. Then there are the lucky stars of the king. And in his left hand is the lucky star of the swallower. He's Ishmael from Moby Dick, because he defeats the whale that is at his feet in one story. If you want to know where the Holy Grail is, the cup that caught the blood of Christ, it is below, and I do believe is part of the constellation of Virgo at the foot of the cross. And you'll see it. I do believe it's called the Grail, but that's the Grail that caught the blood as he was crucified on the cross. Things associated with air signs, clouds, wind. This is some of the terminology used in the New Testament to describe the age of Aquarius. The water bearer, of course, the water of life flowing from Thalim, from his side even, the blood of life, the water of life that flows freely. You know, when I read the word seek and ye shall find, I kept seeking. And I still do to this day. If I'm trying to understand something and I can't find an answer anywhere, they're all in the Zodiac. This is where all of these stories come from that has mesmerized the populations for aeons. It's an incredible mass. Man, I can't, if you try to wrap your mind around how long they have been defrauding the people with this religious stuff, and they're practicing pure astrology all along. I think a lot of them, their astrology has become distorted because they don't use the alchemy. That's part of the profane in it. Is if you're in it for the wrong reason, then the payoff if you're in it for the money, then that's what you're going to get. But if you're in it for the wisdom and the knowledge and just being free from the burden of all of these lies that has been perpetrated upon humanity, and they use religion to do it, they use the feudal system of kings and lords and all of that to do it, the governments, they use the education system to do it, they use the advertisers to do it, the corporations, anything to distract you, to keep you from finding the truth. You know, a light emanates from Thalim. It's a white yellow. It's like this gold that just turns it, this yellow gold that just turns into white light. I've never seen anything like it. I'm just trying to describe to you this being that stands in the gap between life and death. That's what he told me. I'm coming to know who he is. I've known him since I was a little girl. I just didn't know who this was. I read the Bible and I thought, well, this is him. But then the guy at the pit trying to pull me down there and alter me was telling me that was somebody else. He didn't even agree with, they don't even agree with their own teachings. They don't know what they're teaching. It's the blind leading the blind. But it's time for us to pull the scales off of our eyes and see the truth of it all about the Christianity. And look at how we name our children after this. Everything comes from the Zodiac. AL is below, AL is above, LA is below. Here's part of the oath of how they know what they're talking about. Because if the vowel comes before the consonant, it's above. That's the vowel for above. And this is the vowel for below. So Allah is as above, so below. And then they throw that H in there. That's a funny letter. In my study of linguistics, what I found was that H is the only consonant that is used in the mouth like a vowel. All of the consonants, they have they're used in the mouth. The lips never touch in vowels. When we say it, A, E, I, O, U, we don't put our lips together. There's no lisp, no lips. But in the consonants, you use your lips. B, C, D. But they stream. In some of the Native American tongues, the name of God is, listen carefully, E-I-O-U-A, Yahweh, Yahweh, and it sounds like Yahweh. But this H appears in the Bible with the Abraham. Abraham's name was Abram, and he changed it to Abraham, and he added the H. This was considered the breath of life. It is the only consonant that is just ha, like a vowel. A, e, I, o, u, ha. And so it's different than the others. And it stands alone. And with also the symbol of infinity, because it is the eighth. It is used, to me, with the CH, right? C is 3, that's 38, that's 11, and K is 11. So cha is equivalent to ka. In the Gaelic, the church is the kirk, and the K and CH. So the cheese is the keys. Did you hear what I said? The cheese is the keys. And you can do this. This is how you unbibble it, because this is what they did to do it. Crap like this. A kingdom is a chingdom. And that stands, a ka is the spirit. The ka. That's what the hawk flies around saying, ka. And the crows is the macros. They're the crows. They're the, you think of words in terms of letters. I had to teach my brain to do this. I got tired of taking every word and having to go back and do it letter by letter. But it's like the astrology charts. The more I do them, the better I'm getting at it. I need to find a way to introduce this information to the general populace of the Kirk, which is also the crook and the crack. It's the way out of the egg. It's through the crack. Gold. Everything's built into the word. You can look at it as the 7 old gods from the Game of Thrones, which are the chakras and the planets. G is a funny letter. I guess we need to do this a little bit more because they've changed the oath a little bit, and you'll notice it in the Arabic. You have Aleph, Beth, Daleth, Gimel. In the Greek, you have Alpha, Beta, Gamma, and Delta, knowing these whole positions of 1, 2, 3, and 4. So 3 and 4 swapped places between Arabic and the Greek. And then when it moved into the Latin, it went what we use today, A, B, C, D. And the G moved to the 7th place. So G went from 3, went from 4 to 3 to 7. The C was invented. It did not exist. It just don't exist. It doesn't have a sound of its own. It either imitates S or K, and the only time that it even remotely emits a sound of its own is when it's used with the H. Ch. Ch. That's it. That's the only time that ever makes a real sound. So if you wanted to leave it in the 3rd position, it should be A, B, Ch. Ch. For, the Bible says that in that day, the day of Thalim, another good one, day of Thalim, he would restore to us a more perfect tongue. Well, the world is convinced through what I call Judaic Christianity that that was done when Israel was established as a nation. And who was it? His name was, I should know that name. Ben Gurion. Yeah, Ben Gurion wrote the new Hebrew language that they use today. Yeah, that's who did that. Yeah, I know quite a bit about that establishment. I was interested in it when I was younger, and so I pretty much know everything there is to know about Israel since it has been refounded as a nation. And it's completely fraud. It's 100% fraudulent. That's not the bloodline. That's not the right people. It's not the right anything. It is so far from the truth that it's just a laughable lie. You can, once you start learning all this, and either if it goes with the alchemy, then it's undeniable. If it don't, then it's fraudulent. And you find out it does belong somewhere, but where does it belong? To me, they are nothing but the same thing that's been perpetrating this from the beginning. They're the priests of Babylon, and should be named so. That's what they are. They create confusion. But Thalim's going to do away with all of that. You can forget what you see in the news. On CNN, they're going to tell you Donald Trump's going to jail. And on Fox, they're going to tell you Hillary's going to jail. They got a story for everybody and a point of view for everybody, regardless of who you are. And you have to walk that narrow path. You have to think for yourself and make decisions for yourself. And all of that is distraction. And nobody can save you but you. If you're like me, nobody can make me quit smoking cigarettes but me. I can't point my finger. Well, so-and-so gave me a cigarette at the bus stop back in 1974, and I've been smoking ever since. Yeah, it's their fault. Can't do that. It's your decision every day for every action you do. Even, I'm going to tell you like Thalim told me when I was a little girl, even if it kills you. Yeah. So, and that's a good way out of here. Happening to a lot of people these days. Seems to be the popular way to die. More and more people being killed every day. They don't live to that ripe old age anymore. Humanity is culling itself. When we aren't supposed to cull others, we are supposed to cull ourselves. We create our own identities. When you leave this world, you cannot take your money with you. You cannot take anything with you but your memories. So you need to create some good ones and your knowledge. And you think you forgot a lot of stuff, but when you're out of the body and free from that deterrent, all of that memory comes back. All of it. You have that life review. Nothing is lost, and I mean nothing. Not one tiny bit of data. Nothing. It's all there. And it always will be, because energy cannot be destroyed. It only changes from one form to another. And that's what we are. It's what we've always been and what we will always be. If there's anything, to me, electricity and consciousness are hand in hand. They're hand in hand. When the electrical current stops in the brain, the heart can be still beating. But when that current's gone, that individual's gone. It is your soul that makes the body animate. You are the electric being. It's God's spirit trick. Electric. God's spirit trick. It's electric. And this word's just for us. In a way, I'm starting to understand that a pure English tongue, because it's created from the other tongues. In the Bible, Babel, they split the languages up. It was divided, and it's divided into 2 triangles, 6 with 1 in the middle, which makes 7. And it looks like the Star of David. This is not only the changing of the ages, but it's also a key, because each one of these represent a language that comes from one in the middle. They want you to think that one in the middle is Hebrew, but it's not. Hebrew's a fake language. It was a language used by the priests. It was an encoded language. This tongue here, and there are different ones. There are different ones for different parts of the world. All of ours was derived from the Middle East, from Greece, from the Mediterranean, rather. Africa, Arabia, Grecia or Macedonia, and then around into the European tongues of Latin, Etruscan, French, and all of that, German. So, and it goes like this, but it's Arabic, and I'm positive of that, because Arabic is related to Spanish on one end, and it's related to French on the other end. Spanish is related to the Latin, to the Portuguese, and then an amalgamation of these three that is called Esperanto. It's like a slang language. And then with the French is connected the German and the English. Actually, it should be the other way. F should be up here, because English is primarily derived from the German. We get our romance part from France. We get our medical part from Greek, that was the Latin. And then all of our words come from one of these other words, from these other cultures. But to me, it was Arabic. When you say Latin, to me, it is the same as the Greek and the Hebrew, because these were all priestly. The Greeks did have what you call, Latin was religious, Greek was academic. It was based on knowledge, right? They would have loved Thalim. The Grecian kingdom was way into, everybody knows. They're the ones who launched the demo, what I call crazies. The demo crazies. I don't mean to offend anybody's political views, but it is built into the word what it is. Demonstration, it's a demo. It's like a beta cut. It's a trial run. And it is an absolute failure, and it's being set up to fail right now. Everything that you're watching is being staged. You can't have two sides. They're moving to a one world order. I don't think y'all fully understand what that means. And it has to do with the mystery schools. Right now, there are 12 grand lodges around the world. The main lodge for the ones that affect us is in Britain, in England, and the Queen's husband, Philip Battenberg, he runs that lodge. He's Batman. He's Batman. I've done all those videos of who's Batman, who's Superman, just decoding the words themselves so you can't get away from it. And that's what they do. And all of this is done to punish us. Ish means man, and pun is a joke. It's a joke on man. It's a joke on the mind. When you say punishment, ment is mind, so it's a joke on the mind of man. It's punishment. And you didn't get it because you weren't taught. None of us were. Oh my goodness. I'm grateful to those who left little crumbs along the way for me to pick up. And I've been picking up crumbs that go back thousands and thousands of years. And I'm grateful to those individuals who, every one of them, kept their greatest thing they could tell you was the same thing that Thalim did, was look up. Look up. And it is about the kingdom. Kingdom come. Anything that you could use out of Christianity, good symbols, the X, T, and T, and see how many people would even know that. Or you could just do XTT. And of course, TT is being 2020, and X marks the spot. And they know this, so they're getting ready for that. Right? 2610 was TP. And that's when a lot of this started happening to me, and I kept seeing these 3 TPs, and I didn't understand what they were. It took me a while. We're TPs, by the way. P being pi. Let's do it this way. I don't want to rub that into that, because we're going to get off into geometry now. When I was talking earlier about the letter I, and of course it's the pi in the sky, which is the Zodiac. And it divides something like that, right? I'm going to make the Pizza Hut square pizza pan. Let's square their circle this way. It's the pie in the sky. And they're basically telling you that because geometry does come from the heavens. The master of geometry taught that himself. And it's 3.14159. And then and that's above. That's the pie in the sky. And then below, it is the phi, right? Or the PHI, because it's got that special H into it. The Greeks did it this way, but it's 1.618. And it grows, this pi is where you get all kind of angles and stuff from. It's masculine. It's masculine. And this one's feminine. And it grows like this. Like a seashell. Like a conch. These are what I call magic numbers. There are many magic numbers. I've done videos on magic numbers way, way back. It'll be on Inside 33. That was one of my favorite videos I ever did, was magic numbers. It kind of, enough people got on board at that point. I felt like I could move forward. But when you're trying to talk about this stuff, there's so many people on YouTube that are bashing Masons who deal in alchemy and astrotheology. And they think it's the evil that's been perpetrated upon this world was done by them when it wasn't. The powers that be are actually letting that happen, so you will automatically be pre-programmed to hate alchemy, hate astrology, its symbolism. They want it to evoke a bad reaction in you, so you will never learn it. I fell in love with languages, and when every language started telling me the same thing, I thought I better look into it. And what I found astonished me. It is really incredible. It really is. It is perfection the way it's laid out. And it's designed to perfect us, if we will let it. And there's the big key word. There's the word. That T, leti, you gotta let. And God said let. Not do, not stop, not build, not go, let. And he said, let there be. There's a great word. Because there is the zodiac here. Where, oh where? Where is the magic? Is the W here? Are y'all starting to catch on? If you can figure out, if you can get this, and get what they've done to us in every single letter, then everything else makes sense. You don't need an explanation for flat earth, domed earth, round earth, eyeball earth. You don't. Because it doesn't matter if it's flat, or it's domed, or it's eyeballed, or it's square, or it's not even real. The fact is, those stars up there, even if they're matrix generated, are telling a story. And it's the way out. It's the crack. It's the cheese is the keys. And what's made out of the cheese? What's made out of cheese? The moon key. They want you, you're too busy arguing about the mun key or the money when it's about the moon key. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you, that where I am, ye may be also. And if I go, I will send a comforter unto you, who will teach you and guide you in all things. Thalim, the great educator, the guiding light. Of Aquarius. You got that picture of him in your mind? That Native American that just glows and outshines the sun? He's not an old man, he's not a young man, but he's a wise man. And he has many secrets. And if I could get Stellarium to turn on while this screencast on this little thing, it's just a little bitty 10-inch. And it's really old and it's really had it. But I would show you the Holy Grail. I've told you where it's at. You'll just have to go find it. And then you can, there's something about viewing the stars with your naked eye and going out there to look at them. It's the making of the effort. It's the expectation of being able to see that light and allow that light to download into your eyes. The light travels through the eyes like data travels over fiber optic cable on light. And it teaches you and it guides you in all things. Thalim, the comforter. The guiding light, the great teacher and educator. The King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. The King of Heaven. Thank Thalim. I've been saying that a lot lately. I'm very grateful for where I am and how I got here and all of my friends that made it possible. And I love you all dearly. Do your homework. You understand now why Lima, Peru, Per in Egyptian means house. And Lima is a play on Elam. The L and M still in the same position because of where we're at. And this also house or God. And when you do that this way, the way they did it to us by changing it to the lamb, and you wonder why they put the B there. Why this silent B? Why did they do that? That's one of those questions I asked yet when I was younger, and of course you don't get the answer. It's because it's a secret and it means house. You have a ba, a B-A is a house. B-U is land. Like Egypt. Egypt was called Bu Weezer. And that's weird, right? Or you can go Bu Weezer, either way. But what it had to do with is this was magic and this was vizier. It's where we get the word vizier or advisor. It was the land of the advisor. Bu Weezer is Orion. They don't say Orion. They say, or Osiris, by the way. It's Bu Weezer. It's the land of Bu Weezer. And so Weezer, when you hear this now, that's the advisor. And Bu Weezer is not even a man. It's a woman. It's a black woman, like the Jeffersons were moving on up to the east side to a deluxe apartment in the sky. And her name is Wheezy, a play on Bu Weezer. She's the wizard. Oh yeah, wizard comes from there too, because the V and the W. See, my name Levette could also be Lawette, because the V, the W, and actually the U. It started out as a U, but in the Latin, they wrote it like that, the V. which is also interchangeable with the Ba. So Buweezer, land of Egypt, Osiris, the vizier, wizard, bard, wise bard, in the old Britannia, the wise bard was Buweezer. Okay, I think I've just been all over the place. Did I confuse you enough? The way they did that all over the place with the Bibble Babble, that's kind of, it's like having a big ball of yarn and trying to it's just in knots, and it's trying to take all the knots out, and so you get what comes out. I want to find the beginning, but you got to go through all this other crap to get there, and you don't know what string's going to pull through next. And that's the way this seems to be happening. But I thank Thalim, and I thank you all, and don't forget to commit that random act of kindness every single day, every opportunity, so that you can bank that karma. Because in this age, your works do follow you, and from what I'm seeing going down, it's like instant karma. You fuck up, bam, it comes slap you right back in the face. There's no time delay. There's nothing to think about it. It's like sticking your hand in the fire. You're going to get burned. We do it daily, but we'll learn.